Effects of hypothermia for perinatal asphyxias or childhood accoutrements. Introduction. Perinatal asphyxial encephalopathy is associated with a high risk of death or early neurodevelopmental impairments among survivors, cerebral palsy, functional disability, and cognitive impairment, often developed later in childhood. The cost of these conditions to parents, their families, and societies is high.
This is the setup that we have for a baby potentially is going to be cooled. You can see this is a typical bed that we put full-term babies on who are sick, but the babies who need cooling, we actually, before they come, we put this very thin blanket. It's a cooling blanket, and it circulates cold water through it, and it's from this machine that we turn the temperature down to about 90 to 91 degrees. We then place the baby on the cooling mattress, and this mattress actually maintains the temperature of the baby at a colder temperature than normal. So instead of at 98.6, we're shooting for about 91 degrees. And we use this very thin, very low-tech blanket to maintain this temperature. We do it for 3 days, and we've learned from the randomized controlled trials that we've done that just by turning down the temperature, we save some brain cells that would have died otherwise. And then the baby has a chance for a much better outcome.
Methods. In the TOBI trial, 325 infants with a gestational age of at least 36 weeks who had moderate to severe asphyxia and encephalopathy and abnormal results on amplitudes integratics, electroencephalographics, EEG were randomly assigned within 6 hours after birth to receive standard care alone. Control of standard care was hypothermia to a rectal temperature of 33 to 34 for 72 hours, followed by slow rewarming.
I'm a neonatologist at the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin, and I'm an assistant professor of pediatrics at the Medical College of Wisconsin. The neonatology program at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin is far and away the most specialized, the most advanced, and the most capable, I think, of taking care of the state and the region's sickest and most complicated babies. We're the only hospital with in-house, ready, available access to any pediatric subspecialist that we may need to provide the type of specialized care that our infants often require. Working very closely with Frederick Hospital as our delivery hospital, our infants are brought immediately to our newborn intensive care unit without having to be transferred from an outside hospital. But for those babies who do require transport from an outside hospital, we have a transport team that is specialized specifically in how to transport our tiniest, youngest, and most fragile patients. Our commitment to care is round the clock. We have a neonatologist present in the hospital 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We get to know our families very well, and we do our best to support these families through what can be a very difficult time. Not only are the medical providers working hard to provide the best medical care, the family is as much a part of our care team as the providers. We work very hard to include our families in our daily care rounds because we really see the family as one of the primary care providers as well. Here at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin, we can take care of it all. We have premature infants that we are able to take care of from the limit of viability on up, and we are also able to take care of full-term babies that might have specialized birth defects that require the medical professionals that are only found at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin, and we can take care of these babies from admission to discharge. I can't imagine doing anything else with my life. I get to look at and coo and cuddle and see the sweetest things every day. Being able to reassure a family that things are going to be okay, and being able to help a family through when things aren't, there's no greater reward.
Results: a total of 75 on 145 children, 52 persons in the hypothermia groups versus 52 of the 239 persons in the control group. Survivor with a score of 85 or more, relative rates 1.31. The propositions of children with this were similar in the hypothermia group and the control groups, 29 persons and 34 persons, respectively.
Family whose son Thomas, he had a condition called perinatal asphyxia, or lack of oxygen at birth, and he was quite a sick baby, and he was then randomised by computer selection to have a cooling treatment.
Sadly, even with best obstetric care, about 1 or 2 for every 1,000 births suffer from lack of oxygen around the time of birth.
When we were told about the news, it was quite devastating. At that stage, it was a bit of a no-brainer, and we were absolutely all in for going ahead with the trial.
I was in a cold box and I couldn't breathe when I came out of your tummy.
Lots of people are aware of anecdotal stories of near drownings in cold water or recovery from exposure in cold situations. Start off slowly, start off small, and gradually reach the point where you've got enough evidence to support running a larger project to try and produce the evidence.
The TOBE study was a randomised trial where half the babies were treated with standard care, the other half were treated with standard care plus cooling by about 3 degrees below the normal temperature. The National Epidemiology Unit is a coordinating centre, and Brenda Strom was the trial coordinator, and they ensured that all the hospitals were properly trained up, and they were the central repository for all the study data, analysed the data.
During the birth process or shortly before birth, that for some reason the baby is not getting the oxygen that it requires.
You need to start the treatment as early as possible to prevent any injury happening to the brain. So we start within 6 hours of birth, after giving enough time for the parents to understand what is going to be done to the baby. And then we get the temperature down to about 33.5 degrees Celsius and keep it there for 72 hours. hopefully allowing time for all the inflammation and other harmful processes to settle down. And then we slowly rewarm the baby up over about 12 hours. All metabolic processes, all processes that demand energy, require energy, are suppressed by cooling. So cooling reduces the energy demand of the brain. We know that probably then suppresses the inflammatory response, the burst of inflammation and other harmful processes that occur when you've suffered a lack of oxygen. It's something akin to when you have an injury to a joint, you put something cold over it to suppress the swelling and inflammation.
Thomas, shake your hand. Lovely to meet you. Really lovely to meet you.
Clearly, you were aware that Thomas was poorly when he was born. So can you remember what it was like when you were told about his condition and the idea of the trial was introduced to you?
I was absolutely devastated when they told me about his condition, and then at the same time they did talk about the trial, but I couldn't take a lot of information in, and I was in a bit of a meltdown place.
So one of the hardest things about doing a study like this is that you have to provide a lot of information about the study to the parents at a time when they are very stressed. They've just had mother's just delivered a baby and has just received the news that the baby is very sick. Therefore, it is very important to try and give the parents time to understand what is happening and what we are suggesting.
You realised how poorly Thomas was, and when the trial was introduced to you?
When we were told about the news, it was quite devastating. But my immediate reaction was, what are the side effects? And then we were told there weren't any possible side effects. The other issue was, would he be cooled or not? And we were in the hands of the random number to see if he was selected.
The TOBY study was the largest of a number of randomized controlled trials that explored this therapy. And in fact, when we did a summary analysis of all the clinical trials, confirmed that treatment with cooling reduces the chances of dying or developing cerebral palsy by about 50%. In the context of the United Kingdom, we can predict that about 100 more babies every year are surviving without cerebral palsy as a result of this treatment.
It doesn't need batteries, so you squeeze it. That's how you recharge it.
So you're probably aware that NICE recommended cooling as standard treatment since 2010, actually. So how does that make you feel?
I think it's absolutely fantastic, absolutely fabulous. If there's anything that you can do for a baby that has had some injury when they're born, then that is just brilliant.
Brilliant. Bye-bye.
It's very rewarding to come and actually see the evidence of a baby who started off in lots of difficulties and has clearly done very well and continue to stay well and healthy, because not all of them do, but Thomas is certainly a perfect example.